Hi there and welcome. My name is Richard Velde and I am the world history teacher for your student this year. A little bit about myself. This is actually my 10th year of teaching, 7 at Carmel, 3 prior was at Penn High School up in South Bend. I was a graduate of Ball State, where I minored in concentrations of history, political science, and sociology, and minor concentrations in psychology, geography, basically everything except for econ. While I was at Ball State, I was a lacrosse player, so I played a little D1 lacrosse. Was a coach for lacrosse at Penn High School, and also coached football. And now here at Carmel, I am the head varsity offensive line coach. So that keeps me pretty busy in the fall. So just want to give you a broad look here at the course. So a little bit about world history. We're looking at a broad examination of people, cultures, empires, religions, government, conflict, cooperation. It's a pretty broad look throughout the entire course of the year. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the syllabus so we can go through this together. So here's all my contact information for this class. So the best way to get a hold of me would be through email. Since I am a football coach and I leave on 4th block to do football duties, I am not always at my desk or readily available. Therefore, the best way to get a hold of me is through email. Now, that being said, you still can call my extension, still can reach me through the phone, but I cannot guarantee that I will be at my desk able to answer talk voice to voice. So email tends to be the best way to get a hold of me, so I can email back after practice or before school. So just kind of keep that in mind. Here is the course description. So we're talking about world history. We start off with the origins of human society and looked at the greatest civils and looked through great ancient civilizations. We just finished that up, and we're actually on to Unit 2 after Labor Day. These civilizations include China, India, Africa, South America, Middle East, Japan, and Europe, and we focus on those throughout the entire course of world history. Next unit, we will continue with the Greek and Roman civilization. That'll spring us then into the Middle Ages. And then Unit 3, we're looking at the Renaissance and Reformation. And then after second semester, when we come back, it's the industrial world, and we're talking about the world wars and revolutions and conflict and how that has impacted us to this day. The objectives of this class: we want students to be able to leave our world history class with a good understanding of being able to write a coherent, well-supported, well-documented historical argument. And so one thing we do with our kids is we teach them the content, right? And then we want them to be able to make a claim, to be able to make a, basically generate a historical argument based off the information they have, be able to cite it, be able to back it up with evidence, and be able to stand behind that claim. And we use the context of world history and the content in this class to kind of drive those arguments and then have students be able to provide examples as they are making their claims. Okay, so we do a lot with historical arguments. We do a lot with historical writing and essays. We also want our students to detect and discuss different perspectives about historical events. And then the big one, I think, is to draw connections. Being able to look at something from the past, see how it's being affected at that time in history, and then maybe even use that to help predict what could be happening in the future and how these events have shaped our world. And of course, appreciate the complexity and density of world history, which tends to be quite a bit. But we try to break up the units. We try to keep things as simple as possible, digestible for our students. There's way too much world history for a 2-semester course to get through in a year. So we are a little selective in what we talk about, but we do try to get as deep as we can without it being an overload on our students. Students do have access to a textbook, but we just have an in-class copy of those. So they do not actually have a physical book that they are bringing home, but we do have a class set. We do use Canvas regularly, and students need to be familiar with it. Canvas is where we post agendas and assignments and class, homework, projects, quizzes. Basically, everything that they need for the day is on Canvas. Plus, as it says here, when a student misses class, they should be checking Canvas first. Obviously, they can shoot me an email, and we can talk back and forth. But I always tell kids you need to check Canvas because it has detailed information of everything we do that day, and it's a great place to start when students miss school. So I encourage students to go to Canvas first, okay? Then, option B could be that they talk to me or another student in class, and then option C would be the opposite of that. So they can check Canvas, talk to friends in the classroom, figure out what they did that day, and then reach out to me with any questions. The one thing we want to avoid is a student that misses 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and comes up to me at the beginning of class and says, "What did we do?" Okay? That is what we're trying to avoid. We don't want our students to fall behind. Even though they're out, they still should try to stay accountable and try to get as much work done as they can, at least copy down notes or check in to see what kind of assignments we did in class that day. Students need to bring to class every day the textbook, but that's provided by me, so they don't actually have to bring one in. But they need a binder and they need paper because we do pass out a lot of handouts. We do have a lot of writing and note-taking, so it's important that they have that. We want to make sure that they have a writing utensil as well. I provide colored pencils if we ever do map work. So really, here's the three things students need. They need their Chromebook to be able to access Canvas. They need a binder with paper, and they need to be able to write. Okay? Those are the three things that a student should bring to class every day for world history. Expectations. Obviously, we have a very strict cheating and plagiarism policy. You are expected to turn in your own work. Okay? Stealing other ideas and passing them off of your own or cheating is not tolerated. Okay? So if a student is caught cheating, okay, obviously we deal with that in the room. Student will typically get a 0 on that assignment. And this is especially true with students copying each other's homework before the class starts or sending each other Snapchat pictures of a completed worksheet. So we want to limit that as much as possible. It does get reported to the school, and it is something that can be an issue later on with their academic records. So we want to try to eliminate those opportunities and encourage students to not cheat or plagiarize. We also have a no cell phone and a new wireless device policy. Students are required to keep their phone in their pockets or in their bags until a teacher gives them the approval to use those devices. And there are times that we do, especially if we're watching a video and the students have headphones or AirPods, they can watch the video on their phone and connect to their AirPods. But for the most part, unless permission is given, there should be no phones out. No need for them. And so we have now a violations of device policy. It starts with a verbal reminder. Then we take away the phone, which goes into these numbered sleeves, so it's away from the student. All right, and then at the very last would be that we turn it into the front office and a parent has to come pick it up. My discipline policy is pretty simple. Show each other respect. Students show each other respect. Students show me respect, and I return that respect back to them. We're 14, 15 years old. We are young adults. It's not middle school anymore, so we want to make sure that we are keeping these things in mind, and especially with a class like World History where we talk about very diverse and different cultures, perspectives, beliefs, and actions. It's important that we keep sensitive material in mind, okay? And we will be talking about very sensitive material, and so what I always tell my students, it's okay to disagree, all right, but we have to disagree respectfully, all right? And so we avoid blurting things out or saying things that should not be said. There is a level of respect that we have to keep in history while we talk about very sensitive or diverse topics. Absences, I've kind of talked about this already, but check in with Canvas. That's the best thing you can do, okay? And then if you miss an assignment or a test, the expectation is you come see me, get a pass. We do it in SSRT. Students need to check in on Canvas, and then they need to check in with me to make sure that they're staying on top of the work. Speaking of work, I have a late work policy. My late work policy tends to be a little flexible in regards that students have up until the unit test to get any assignment turned in from that unit. So if you miss something from a day and it gets turned in 3 days later, I take it for full credit. But the minute the unit test starts for that unit, no previous work can be turned back in for credit. Those become zeros. This has worked really well for me in the past, giving students a little bit more time to work on some complicated history homework. And this has also kind of encouraged students to not copy each other's work and to not get caught cheating because they have extra time to get those assignments turned in. Here are the grades. Grading scale, we go 80% summative assignments, your tests, quizzes, projects, DBQs, and the other 20% of the class is activities, homework assignments, and discussions. We do have a virtual textbook that students can use, but we also have that physical in-class copy. All right, so that's the quick rundown of the class. Once again, my name is Richard Velde. I'm very excited for this school year. So far, we've gotten off to a rocking start. We've already, like I said, finished our Unit 1 test, which was identifications, and students were writing about terms and ideas from the ancient world. And after Labor Day, we'll be jumping into Unit 2, which is our Greece, Rome, Middle Ages, and we're really starting to get into the nitty-gritty of real-world history discussions. So once again, if you need to contact me with any questions, concerns, please reach out to me through email. I have all my information up there. Again, you have access to the syllabus on my Canvas page. And I'm really, really excited to work with this group of kids this year. It's been, like I said, a phenomenal start. I'm excited to see where it's going. We have a really fun class that seems to be ready to go. So I'm really, really excited. It's been a great start, and let's keep it going. It was nice to meet you guys all, and thank you for taking the time to watch my video. Have a great rest of your night.